set it all up. Hopefully I have presence of mind to do it tonight and I don't just put it off till it's time to go live. But I had not checked in astrologically in a long time with Rodney Goodwin of Blue Pearl Oracle, who's also a member of Temple of the White Dragon. So he's a fellow Temple mate, a schoolmate, if you will, in our little mystery over here with me and all my friends and Headmaster Boza and the whole gang. Anyway, so we did a huge video on Pluto's transits that we finished that. We got through that entire arc. I believe we got to the end of it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think we went too far into 2025 because all of the major milestones, because we were marking a couple of things in that video. We were marking how Pluto was swinging back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. That time is long gone. But we were also talking about how that sweep also was a sweep across our Pluto return. And so there's the double dynamics, because America was born at the end of an age and it's having its revolution at the end of an age. Now, we didn't have this retrograde period because we can look back at the records to prior to, which is how we know the discovery of Pluto through the logic of the calculations ever since we were able to observe Pluto's transits. And so as we've been going through this, we've also been given this interesting grace period. It's a different kind of return because of this pendulum swing back and forth that Pluto had been swiping over that natal position, as well as how it was swiping over that 0 point to Aquarius. So we had been given 2 instances of the ability to reflect on the revelations of Pluto. Which is something that many other new nations don't have the ability to do. Because America was an important first part of a larger process in the early Aquarian steps, right? I mean, like, people say that the European Renaissance was the actual age of Aquarius and not this period of time that we're in now. So whatever that age was, that the Renaissance was happening, was also the same time that the Holy Roman Empire, its power was waning as an absolute centralized force. So no doubt it at least was clearing its throat for Aquarius. And maybe they're right. Maybe we're just looking at the fact that, the church is in a bit player's role in the world, which is a huge role because it's in the world, it's a global thing, but it's in decline. It has enemies, so on and so forth. I mean, I'm technically an enemy. It's not an enemy of any particular person. It's just an enemy of the bad within an institution. And if the institution can stand, it means that its core is good. It just needs to stand up to that test, otherwise it deserves to fail. But yeah. But we also did, a few years ago, after the Pluto video, we did a shorter video because I had felt the need to tap into Uranus. So I wanted to hit the various Uranus transits that were happening. There was a certain significance to Uranus and Taurus with what was going on in the world, that I said to myself, Uranus is going to be a massive player right now with all of the revolutionary return transits happening in the first place. Just turn green and relax, people in front of me. All right. So I think we went through all that too, because that was not as huge a swath of time. Sunlight in the eye. But this time around, we're gonna have kind of like a general conversation, right? Because I think we had three. Because I think we had a second Pluto conversation, which was kind of like it was a tracking conversation. Technically, it's the third time, but the second time was more of an extension of part one with Pluto, and then there was Uranus, and then this is now a fourth time of us working together. And in this fourth incarnation, we'll probably just be talking about some of the new energies that have arisen. I think what's going on in Aries right now, I think it's healthy to talk about that because naturally many astrologers are going to look at things happening in Aries and they're going to think about conflict and war, rightly so. But as an Aries going through what he's going through and having refined my relationship with what is really behind the God of War, right? I have a feeling that there was a great deal lost because it is misunderstood with Aries as far as Rome and Greek mysteries are concerned, and what's actually happening through the artistic license of our dramas in conflict, with war, with great battles, with high stakes honor duels, things of this nature. So I think that the best transmutational conversation to have about that is let's zero in, right? It's just it's not war, right? I mean, it's war in the context of just the dramatic license in which the mystery is expressed in the mythos. The But it's the mystery more than the mythology that matters in actuality, right? Because the mystery is the symbol, it's the code, right? And you have to translate it, elaborate on it, filter it. You have to. I don't even know if filtering it's the right word, but the point is that like you have to go through the interpretation using your mind, and getting a deeper sense of what's actually going on, right? Aries, we get the we love to we've loved to take him, and he's kind of like Loki or Satan, right? For one thing, he's got the ram's horns. He puts him akin to the goat, and thus he's a devil because he's a horned god, right? So he's devilish in that manner. And then it's just like, haha, look at me, I've instigated 2 nations to fight for my worship. Right? Thus, it's like, mankind can't be held accountable for his desire for bloodshed. It was all a trick of the war god. Right? Because we kind of tell these stories that way. We kind of tell these stories from the point of view of all these innocent mortals, and look at this this god of evil who wants to torment them for not having a deity's perspective, exploiting their mortal subjective perspective of the universe and their foolish, blind beliefs and things that they take for granted. And, just like this was the plot of the Wonder Woman movie, which like the Wonder Woman movie was like they treated Ares. I don't know how he is in the comic books. I'm not big on all the DC stuff. But they just they don't give you anything. There's a depth behind what's really going on, and you don't get that if you're just a war god. Just like war is going on. Oh boy, I'm excited to get involved in these energies. Right? It's just no. There's willpower. There's desire. There's desires, there's willpower, there's motivations. Yeah, there's certainly ego. There's certainly personality as well. We'd be lying to ourselves if there wasn't. Right? And the conflict that arises naturally within from that which is an offense unto you. That's going to happen. And sometimes you can see deterministically, especially if it's in accord with other gods, where something is right or wrong. Right? Is this wrong and that's why it's an offense to me, or am I ignorant and that's why it's an offense to me? You see the difference, right? This is why I don't get offended. I get insulted, right? Being offended is for children. It's for imbeciles. It's for man-childs and lady-childs. It's not for people that have pushed themselves through the maturity process. Right? And I'm a late developer. So I know what it's like to be childish into your adult years. Cringily so. Embarrassingly so. Ugh. amount of times I want to kick myself. So, you must appease your inner war god. It is only fair. You have to know yourself. You can't just sit there and act, like the whole triggering thing, right? Triggering is largely this. It's your suppressed Martian energies, your suppressed martial mind, who doesn't understand it, doesn't want to understand it because you've been conditioned by bad programming, right? If you've got pacifist programming, such as being a Buddhist, a Christian, this is my problem with a lot of religions. This is like, I hate seeing all the pacifism, and if it's not the pacifism, it's the holy fucking, like, look at me, I'm on the goddamn crusades. All right, I got Crusader blood confirmed as a Purdy, right? I have Templar fucking lineage, which isn't genetic or anything, but the point is that my bloodline has memory of Templar adventuring, right? Fact. And so I think I got a slight pickup on that, right? Because I have been an inner tyrant like that before. There are times where I didn't realize some of the ways I was thinking about things and the real consequences of them when I was filtering my entire Dasein, my entire world, via Catholicism as a young child, and then as a teenager, very young adult, through Pentecostalism, and my heart somehow was not afraid to walk away from it all, which I think that is only because most people have collectivist mindsets, and so their belief in God is being informed by the Hierophant, if you will. It's being informed by what is in alignment with the status quo that is telling me about God, so I can get back to a relationship which is in divine order with itself. And this is why they suppress Aries, because we left the age of Aries and we were terrified of re-emerging the age of Aries, because we had processed into the water era, and so we flooded out. It's a psychic flood with Pisces rolling in. We flooded out. This age of warfare in that manner, and you can't suppress it because you're not destroying Aries itself. You're not destroying Mars itself. They are still the influencing factors. But they went and they progressed the mythos of Zeus, where his arrogance had made him enemies with all other gods, to fit the henotheistic narrative that they needed, because it was important to them to rope in the people that called themselves Jews in the Roman Empire. So this is when Jove becomes Jehovah. for whatever reason, it was important to the Romans to do this. It was allegedly their temple and something they thought they believed in from the mythos of the people of this region. Was amongst the many things that Rome was in love with, had a romantic relationship with, and was very interested in culturally appropriating, as the Catholic religion does very overtly. Islam does it too, but it's a different focus. It's a different animal with Islam. But you can tell because Islam is different. It's just like, I like to use Indonesia as an example. You meet a Muslim from Indonesia, from the Indo-Chinese area, so on and so forth. They are completely different, right? They're completely, for one thing, their native tongue isn't Arabic. Their native tongue isn't in that language. So they're still, they still are holding this very different kind of frequency in which their mind operates, right? As opposed to people in the Arabic world, that they got their Holy Scripture, and their Holy Scripture is properly based on a language that they speak in, right? And so you see a more liberal, for lack of a better word, kind of Islam. And I think that this is the Islam that they are showing to Democrats, liberals, and such, right? And I get it. Look, by the merit that you run around, you see women at different levels of burqa. You got burqa, and then you've got like just, just like covering up the hair. Some of it, it's like, it's just the hair. Maybe they're not in short shorts, I suppose. And in the American mindset, we just think to ourselves, it's up to a woman how she cares to dress. As long as it's within decency laws, right? And our decency laws are very reasonable. And then you find out things like there's no law against being topless in public in the city of New York. And a woman can run around with her shirt off, just like in Paris. So, anyway. Long story short is, there's a nuance to what we're all fighting about. And if you do not understand the forces behind war on a spiritual, energetic, psychic level, then you're always just going to blame the existential forces. Right? Because the Mossad wouldn't do what the Mossad does unless it fucking worked. And our love of secrecy in that manner. All right. That's it. I got to get to work. I'll catch you later.